looking back at how there was creams and injections and different things to make you lighter, and how society was telling these young girls to lighten their skin to be more socially accepted.
We take a step back and we really remember that it's important for us to recognize our own individuality and our beauty. We shouldn't feel like we need to change, for what people expect us to be, that what makes us unique is what makes us beautiful.
Sitting here in front of me, you make me feel old. Now you're 14 with a major Hollywood movie under your belt. Tell us about Birds of Prey.
That experience was super surreal. For it being my first debut feature film, everybody was so supportive and very welcoming. I felt like Margot, she was such a big role model, and Rosie and all of them too. So it was very exciting and very stressful at the same time, but everything, it was really great.
What was that experience like? Tell us about your journey from auditioning and how you found out that you got the role.
It was a 1-month audition process. I would go in every Friday, and then they would let me know Monday how I did. And we watch a lot of movies to prepare for the role. And I remember my mom she picked me up early from school because she couldn't wait to tell me, and we had my agent on the phone, and they were just screaming over the moon. So yeah, that happened. I think it was in maybe October or November of 2019. And then we started shooting in January through March or April. Yeah.
And you could have stopped at Birds of Prey, but you're using now your platform and your voice to come up with something like Gold, which is such an anthem that talks about social issue.
When you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion.
Gold is really a power anthem to uplift the Asian American community. I'm so proud to be not only Korean but Filipino as well. And Gold is really just to embrace that we are a beautiful culture, and we really love our skin, and we don't care about the model minority or the stereotypes or anything like that.
You're only 14, but you're talking about something that's very sensitive and very serious, but much needed. It talks about loving the color of our skin, the skin that we're in, right? Tell me, where do you get your depth from?
I think I get a lot of my influence from my mom and my aunt and my family in general. I grew up in such a big family of very supportive people who are in the acting industry and music and all of that. So yeah, they've definitely taught me to really appreciate my culture and love who I am. We love eating lumpia and Korean barbecue and all of that. So we really love to just embrace it.
So I first heard about this song through Ella J. She created the music first with her brother. They wrote the verses and the chorus, and her brother Daryl produced the instrumental for the record. And so it got to the point where I think they had one more section left in the song, and so Ella J sent me an email. She approached me and asked if I would be interested in writing a rap verse for my part, and then recording to it. First and foremost, I'm such a big fan of Ella J. I saw her film Birds of Prey last year, and I just know that she's just a very talented young woman. When I think about the next generation of artists who are out there representing not only the Filipino American community, but the Asian American community at large, she's definitely one of the people at the top of that list. Not only from her brilliance and her talent, but also I think that she's such a great role model for the youth. She's one person who's not only excels in the spaces that she's in, and she's absolutely talented, but she's also been a strong advocate for a lot of the same issues that I advocate for. And so when I listened to the song, it just blew my mind. I was just completely inspired initially, and I thought, this is such a perfect fit. The theme of the song centers on individuality and celebrating who you are, especially as a woman, and that for me was already the hook to make to get my interest and really spark my interest in wanting to be part of this project. And so I'm really humbled that she reached out to me, and you know, I'm always going to be such a large supporter of everything that Ella J does. But I think what really what made me champion her this time, first and foremost, was the topic and the message behind the song. And you know, this is such a beautiful song that I think is not only empowering overall, but very important and necessary for these times.
You mentioned a lot of kind words for Ella J, and you'll be pleased to know that I think the feeling is mutual there. When I spoke to her and her aunt Ariana, and even DJ Daryl, they said that when it came to the rap part, there was no doubt you were. Basically they allocated that spot for you.
You're a that's beautiful. You're a that's beautiful.
Ruby is such a big role model of mine. I mean, she's a scientist and a rapper at the same time. She really makes sure that she advocates for the Filipino community as well through her music. So I really do aspire to be her as well.
But I'm just very humbled and so grateful from Ella J and the entire Basco family's kindness towards me the last couple years.
Tell me about working with your brother. What was that like?
I mean, it's working with your family in general. There's so many pros and so many cons at the same time. I love my brother Daryl. We have such a good relationship and we connect really well just because we are siblings. But yeah, I mean, we'll FaceTime and he'll text me about his new song ideas and we'll talk to each other and laugh all the time.
So you and DJ have co-wrote songs together. So what's special about Gold?
I think just the connection that we have together writing and just the message in general about how we want to embrace our culture and love who we are. But I mean, that's really what I'm all about too. I have other songs like Miss Popularity and like Miss Popularity, which embraces kind of like what we're feeling and what young girls are feeling with all of the social media and things like that.
Yeah, what I really loved about being on set with them when we were creating the music video was just the sense of family and the sense of community. You know, as you mentioned, the people that were involved were all, you know, part of Ella J's circle, and naturally everybody was so kind, so gracious, and so humble that they really made me feel like I was also part of that family. And it was just, for me, inspiring also to see that a majority, if not most or all of the people that were involved actually with the music video were women, and women of color at that. And to see just the strong bond of connection and sisterhood, both on set and also musically, it's such a special project.
So you have your aunt, but you also in this project got to work with Leslie, Ruby Ibarra, Drea, your cinematographer for the music video. Such power Pinays. What did you learn from them?
I really learned how strong and how capable they are. I mean, everybody is, their work ethic is so amazing. Ruby, she's such an amazing lyric writer. She's so good. And Auntie Leslie, I mean, she really puts together beautiful mood boards, and the hours she spends creating these visuals for us to understand is so amazing. So yeah, I mean, working with them was such a beautiful experience.
And it's special because also it was filmed during the pandemic. What were the challenges in producing and also the challenges in filming the music video?
Of course, with it being in the middle of the pandemic still, when it came to recording the music, we had to do it separately. So thankfully, I had my own studio set up, and so did Ella J, that it made us a lot more easier in terms of having access to the resources because I have my own home studio. But when it came to filming the music video, I know that initially the director of the video, Leslie, Alejandro, she wanted me to come down to Los Angeles to film with them, and they were hoping that we would have more scenes together, myself and LJ. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic and travel restrictions, and making sure, of course, that everybody that's present on set are safe, and having a lot of necessary steps to do prior to being there to film, it made it kind of a roadblock for me to go down to Los Angeles. And so it was postponed a couple of weeks, but then LJ and her family, the entire crew, came up to the Bay Area, and that's where you see me in the video, and as well as our collaborative shots. So we still made it happen.
I know, right? So with that said, what are your favorite scenes, perhaps, in the video? Can you share those with us? And some things that every time I watch the video, you learn something new. You discover little things that you put in there. Could you give us tips and clues on what to look out for and all that stuff?
I think first and foremost, my favorite shot is definitely the introduction to the music video, which is the skit that LJ filmed and was written by Leslie Alejandro. And I think it's just very powerful to have that as a statement prior to the audiences hearing the music. This was our way of showing the audiences and take our own flip also on this, this constant media representation of whether it's in Philippines media or here in America, of people constantly, reinforcing this stereotype or this message that we need to widen ourselves to fit, standardized beauties. And so I think this was, an important conversation starter for us to be able to have that and to present that in the beginning, and then introduce the song, which also goes hand in hand with that message of the skit.
For Gold, we actually did a 50s commercial in the beginning about wanting to be lighter, called Brown Be Gone, so the soap, and it was all of that. So yeah, I mean, we did a lot of research on it, and it was really messed up, honestly, looking back at how there was creams and injections and different things to make you lighter, and how society was telling these young girls to lighten their skin to be more socially accepted. So I think it's really messed up, and that is pretty much the whole reason why we wanted to shine a light on that whole scene and that whole industry by doing a commercial in the beginning.
But in addition to that, I also really loved a lot of the family clips that Ella J had with her family at the end. I think that just brings it all home, I think, with the message, and showing people that although we're here to celebrate our individuality, and showing people that it's okay to feel comfortable and confident in who you are, a lot of that confidence and love does come from our family, and we need to have that community support to really strengthen ourselves.
I really love talking to you, Ruby. You are, I just love talking to you. It's always a pleasure getting your thoughts and opinions on things, how deep you are, how deep you think, and how deeply you care for this community. You mentioned about the color of the skin, and how even sometimes it comes from family, right? And I know my experience growing up in the Philippines, my dad, who's Chinese, also told me not to stay out in the sun for too long. You're gonna get dark, things like that. What about you? Do you have any personal experience about the color of your skin, and how you were just how that was reinforced, how that message was reinforced in you?
I unfortunately do. And again, this is why I gravitated towards this song and this music video and the importance of this message. Because for me growing up, even though I think of myself as a Filipino American who is more on probably the lighter skin tone of the Filipino skin tone spectrum, I was told countless of times growing up as a kid, whether it was from my parents or neighbors or friends and family, that I should use, skin whitening products, whether it be soaps or the lotions. And so this was ingrained in my head at a very young age. And so, with it being kind of expected, it really, I think when I was growing up, I never really questioned it, but it was always something that I recognized where it was a bit weird, because I know that my peers who weren't Filipino American didn't typically go through that experience. And so as I got older and I started to learn more about these products and I started to learn about what colonization is and assimilation, I realized really the damaging effects that this has, not only psychologically and mentally, but also emotionally. This really takes an emotional toll on us, especially as Filipino Americans being here in the US. And, it's already a very complex identity. We're trying to figure out who we are, how do we fit in this country? And, there's that added complex layer of making us believe that we need to be someone else. And so we hope, with this music video and song that we really start conversations around this. And hopefully it opens up also for, multi-generational, for not only the kids and the youth, but also for adults and the older generation that may watch this video, that it starts that conversation. I think for us, in order to dismantle the colorism that exists in our community, it really starts from within and in our small circle of family and community, to make sure that we're breaking through these stereotypes and really challenging a lot of these harmful and toxic behaviors and practices.
I love that you say that, because it's not just within our community, even outside. Now that the Stop Asian Hate is a battle among us, right, that we're trying to fight as well. I know I've also been told before by non-Filipinos who say, oh, you're Filipino, but you don't look Filipino. And I will ask, like, how so? And they're like, you're not dark skinned, like things like that. And I think that this message from the song is very important, right, in order to educate, because I believe that education builds empathy, it builds understanding. But I know that this, as Ella J has said, or Ella, Ariana, everyone has shared with me their statement by making this music. What about you? What was the statement, or what is the statement that you want to make with this music, with Gold?
With this song, I think the main takeaway message that I like audiences to have is to recognize first and foremost that Asian Americans and Filipino Americans, we have an important story to tell, and that we have a unique experience, and that we're really not a monolithic community, that, being Filipino American, that we have our own unique struggles and our own unique journeys and experiences. But in addition to that, for every, women that watches this video or hears this song, I really hope that they learn that it's, in the midst of, this social climate that we're in, with a lot of the rising Asian American hate and racism, but also on top of that, with it being such a social media heavy society nowadays, with all these added external pressures that are placed among us, that we take a step back and we really remember that it's important for us to recognize our own individuality and our beauty, and to feel confident in who we are, and to remember that we shouldn't feel like we need to change, for what people expect us to be, that what makes us unique is what makes us beautiful.
And for people that are listening to Gold, or maybe watching the music video, what do you want them to take with them?
I really hope that they feel empowered themselves. The new generation of people is honestly amazing. We've been very revolutionary so far. So I think when the younger generation watches this video, they really see that they can feel empowered too within their culture, and they don't have to be some sort of stereotype, or they don't have to change the way they look because of what society is telling them, that they can just be their authentic, beautiful selves.
All right, tell us what's on the horizon for you.
Well, I really want to come up with another album, which we are working on, and I also want to be a part of another big movie, and hopefully I think I could produce a movie as well, similar to how Margot did in Birds of Prey. For the folks that are tuned in, I highly encourage, if you haven't watched the Gold music video yet, please go to Ella J. Basco's YouTube page to watch the music video. Please support us by streaming the song on all digital media platforms such as Spotify and iTunes. And to follow more of my music and my work, please check out rubyibarra.com.
I already have all your music, all your songs downloaded on my phone through Apple Music.
Thank you so much.
I love it. I played in the car. I played for my daughter. I want her to have like amazing Filipina warriors as her role models as she's growing up. So thank you so much, Ruby, for providing that for the future generation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.